Most boutique owners today are losing money because they're buying based on emotion and not strategy. Today, I'm going to teach you how to stop guessing and start buying like a boutique CEO. I've worked with thousands of boutique owners, and the biggest reason I see boutiques struggle is this. They're buying like shoppers and not like business owners. So in this 3-part series, I am going to show you how to plan your product assortment so that it's not just pretty, it's also profitable. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the buying basics that actually make money. This is so that you can turn your inventory faster, keep more cash in the bank, and stop second guessing all of your inventory orders. In the videos to come, you'll learn more advanced inventory strategies and pricing your products for profit. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you get the alerts when the next 2 videos come out. I think you're really going to love this series. Buying good product for your boutique is a lot of intuition and trend, but buying for profit is a skill. So many boutique owners confuse buying and going to market to get inventory with having good taste. That's a piece of it. And having really good intuition in your boutique business is so important. Honestly, in any clothing product-based business, if you don't have good taste and have good intuition about what you like, what your customers like, and you don't have those emotional reactions, you probably will struggle a bit. What I find is that because creative people who are intuitive start boutique businesses, they often start off with like some success. Like they pick some good items, they do get themselves on a roll. And I mean, I've had people come to me $10,000 a month to $40,000 a month just on their intuition, like doing really, really well. And maybe that's you. Maybe you've gotten to this point where you're like, yeah, I have used my intuition, Emily, and I make good guesses, and that served me really well. I've actually made a good amount of money. Let me tell you something. It has gotten you this far, but I don't think it's going to get you even farther. What I hear so often is, I made $1 million in my boutique and nothing's in my bank account. The problem starts with product, and that's why we're starting here. Okay, so what is the key shift from turning you from an intuitive, good-tasted shopper into what a boutique owner who knows what their buy plan is? It's considering yourself a merchant. A merchant is this beautiful position where you are a great curator, but you also base what you buy and your financial decisions on data. So every single piece you buy needs to have a plan to price it for profit, sell it quickly, and move on to the next item. We have to start thinking strategically like you are running a business, not just someone who's out grabbing cute stuff. Every item in your assortment really needs a purpose, an end use, and that ideal customer in mind. Okay, so I know you've probably been on Fashion Go or Fair, one of our favorite websites. Maybe you've even been to a market and you've done some buying, and maybe you haven't done any buying yet. But if you have, let's talk a little bit deeper. Have you ever created a plan for your buy? Tell me down below. Tell me like the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to hear in the comments. Do you usually go to market with a plan? Do you usually go on Fashion Go with some sort of plan? If so, what are you basing that plan on? Tell me down below in the comments what you feel like prepares you to go and buy. Here's what I'll tell you. Most boutique owners that I speak with have a plan. They know the vendors they're going to go to. They know about how much money they can spend. And that's good, but it's not great. And it's not going to end up being profitable. If you go and buy inventory without a plan, you're basically just gambling. You really need 3 things before you go and buy any inventory. A budget. Yes, you need to know how much you can spend based on your projections and based on the past. There's some data in there that will help you understand like what is your total budget for that month or for that quarter, that season. And then next you need to drill down into having a category plan. So not just a big budget, but how many dresses do you need to buy? How many tops do you need to buy? At what average retail? At what average cost? Where's the margin coming in? You have to have those details, or again, you're gonna get lost. Third is that ideal customer. What is she doing? What is he wearing? What are the nanas wanting to buy for their grandkids these days? All of those things come into account when you are going to buy. You want to look at an item and immediately say, oh, she's going to buy that. She's going to love that. She's going to look great in that. If you don't have an emotional reaction based on either your perspective or your customer's perspective, then there's going to be trouble in the buying process and in the selling process. There's definitely a balance between buying what you love, which is my old school, like you have to buy what you love because you really need to have the energy behind it to sell it. There's also a little bit of buying what you know your people are going to like. We've talked in interviews in past with some of my clients who realized they just didn't have the right customer based on their location or based on how they were marketing themselves. We've seen a lot of people have to shift and just make some little edits here and there because they realize their customer is a little bit this way or that way. And so making those fine tweaks and edits will come over time as you build your boutique business. But I think it's important to understand as you go into market, like, who are you shopping for? And yeah, it can be you. It also could be Sarah, who you've profiled and you know exactly who she is and where she works and what's going on with her, right? It can be a little bit of both too. What you need to know is that there is power in planning before you go make your buys. So if you're watching this, you haven't bought anything, awesome. You're in the best spot. If you're watching this, you're like, Emily, I actually have too much inventory or I don't have the right inventory. This is the step-by-step process I take my clients through to create profitable assortment plans. Product is my favorite thing in the world. I do have an emotional reaction to product and buying product. And so I love teaching this because it's something that I'm so passionate about. And one of the reasons I'm so passionate about it is because I want more women, especially, to make more money. Boutique and clothing businesses are one of the best ways for people to make a profit and be able to support themselves. So for me, my biggest focus with anyone who has a clothing business or a boutique is to make sure that your margins are good. Now, your margins are the difference between what you pay for an item and then what you charge the customer for the item, okay? That difference has to pay for a lot of things. It has to pay for more inventory. It has to pay for expenses. It has to pay for photo shoots. It has to pay for your life. And so on every single item, you want to be making at least a 2.5 markup. Now, some people say margin, some people say markup. I like to talk markup because it's super easy math. I'm on a mission to help more women, especially, become retail nerds with me because I used to really not like math, but retail math is different and it's fun and it's easy and it's money. So I enjoy looking at it and I want to teach you how simple this can be. Most people out there will tell you to just double the price or double the price and add $5. There's a lot of anecdotes going on out there, but I'm going to tell you right now, the math only maths for a boutique or clothing brand business if you're at least a 2.5 markup, which means when you sell something at full price or a discount price, you need to be 2.5 times the cost. Meaning, if it's a $10 item that you paid $10 for, you are going to charge $25 for that at the minimum. Okay. Are you tracking with me here? At the minimum. We want to actually make 3 times, 4 times, 7 times. Like, I don't care, but it has to have a good price value relationship. It has to make sense for the product. So we can't just like arbitrarily mark something up crazy amounts. Well, I guess we could, like corporations do, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're more fair than that. We're going to take our markup and we're going to make sure it's enough for us to make money, because the combination of how much you mark up, how well something sells, and whether or not you're going to put a discount or a markdown or a promo code or whatever on it, all of that comes into play once the money then hits your bank account. So the money you make up front, we want as much of that money to pop into your bank account as possible, right? Am I right? I'm right. So when we're talking about markup, we need to think about profit, operating costs, any sort of inventory risks or capital risks we want to take, and then also occasional markdown sales. Like, I find a lot of people are running some kind of promo code or sale like all the time. That eats away at your margin. We've found so many instances where just too many discounts were given, too many promo codes, too many ambassador things. Like, it just diminishes how much money you make. And while those can be really helpful marketing steps, or they can be really, wonderful ways to get new customers, we also just have to put some boundaries on it so you're not losing a ton of money every time you're giving it a discount to people. So right out the gate, I want you to start at either 2.5x or 3.5x or somewhere in between there at a minimum for all your goods. So again, the example is if it's a $10 item, you paid cost $10, you're going to times that by 2.5, which will get you $25, or times it by 3, $30. Hey, you can land at $27. I don't care, but please at least be at $25 on a $10 item. A lot of you are going to say to me, but Emily, if I price it lower, then won't more people buy it? Like, won't it sell quicker? Maybe, but it's not guaranteed. And if you price it lower, what if you have to take another markdown on top of that? Like, you're just losing money. If we can plan for our inventory to turn fast, and that means like come in and out of our store, then we can actually update more often. We can be more profitable. It's really about how quickly something moves through your store. I teach this inside my courses, and it's a little bit difficult to sort of imagine unless you're in the process of owning a store. It's kind of like the rhythm of the store is your inventory turn. So how quickly are you selling based on how much you've bought? You never want to be like selling out of everything, but you also don't want to sell so slowly that you just are sitting on the same inventory for 6 months. So we've got to price and mark down our products in the way that makes sense to turn through inventory, where again, we're still making that profit. So how do we think about turning products for boutiques? Well, about every 4 to 6 weeks, you want to either do some markdowns or run a sale so you can get through that past 4 to 6 weeks of inventory. I like people to have an item, have a style for 4 to 6 weeks and then move on. Now, that is going to vary if you have something that's more basic versus fashion, over the top versus, a really easy everyday wear. Like, it's always going to depend on how quickly items turn based on all those factors. But seasonal inventory, let's say you're buying for spring, you're buying for summer, you want that gone in like 4 to 8 weeks. You want to sell through it all, be done with it. And the cool part about that is that the quicker you sell, the easier it is to reinvest because you've got cash flow, right? You're bringing in items and you're selling items at a nice pace to where you have money coming in, and then you're going to have money go out again, right? For more inventory. So managing the balance of inventory turn is one of the biggest parts of product assortment. I think most people don't notice. They look and they say, oh my gosh, I have so much inventory. Yeah, but of what? And why do you still have it? And what was the mistake there? I actually went to a client's house once and she was like, we just have so much inventory. And I said, listen, pull one of everything. I showed up, they had 4 racks like stuffed with stuff. And we literally just started going through and I said, did this sell? Did this sell? Did this sell? We started a collection. So we started to move everything to the rack that didn't sell. And what was still on the rack was selling. And it was so clear what they had done wrong. It was so clear that they were filling the shelves with just like whatever they could get. And it didn't really fit the aesthetic of who their core customer was, who was actually buying these pieces, right? The things that were really working. And so we had to change their assortment completely. But that's the point, is that, if you're watching this and you're really deep into your business and you feel like, wow, I have so much inventory, that's a good practical next step for you to take, is to figure out, why are things not selling? Why are things selling? Right? That's where we can start to tweak and make sure that inventory turn starts to get faster. The thing is if you're holding on to inventory too long, you're just missing out on opportunity. Like having a fall sweater in March, it's not going to sell. You're going to sell spring stuff in March, even if it is a sweater. It's going to be a different color. It's going to be the new trend. And so to hold on to items for too long doesn't make sense, because you're going to miss out on what's going on in the marketplace. Okay, so we've gone through a lot, and I think there's a lot to dig your teeth into. And hopefully, some of this is review and some of it might be new for you, but this was meant to be sort of the basics of what I want every single boutique owner, clothing business to understand before they buy one piece of clothing, whether that it's their first order or their 101st order. You've got to understand that buying product is about strategy and it's about profit, not just about buying what you love or buying what looks good or buying what that other boutique is selling and seems to be selling out of. Like, that's not it. We can create a plan for you that works for your ideal customer, works for your price points, works for you. This is your business. We need to make this personalized. So in the next video, I'm going to go deeper into how to manage your inventory better so that you can keep your cash flowing, make your buy plan smarter, and just overall stop drowning in inventory. If this video helped shift your mindset or gave you some new ideas or perspectives, I would love if you liked or subscribed to the channel. And remember, comment below what you've taken away from this video and how you're going to adjust what you do to buy your next piece of inventory. I would love to hear more. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. Here's to making lots of friends and making lots of money. I'll see you on the next one.